Reading through the United States Census documents, I discovered that the prophet and his son lived with his siblings after the 1937 flood, and that his brother Jesse worked at the casino. I knew that tracing Jesse's life would also lead to a good insight into the prophet's offstage views. There were many sermons speaking about the sins of casinos and gambling. I found a marriage license for Jesse in the 1938 marriage license book at the courthouse. Jesse had divorced 3 months before the wedding of that same year, and the prophet performed the wedding of Jesse and Agnes Gullett. That marriage lasted only a few months, even though Jesse had a child with Agnes. A little over a year later, Jesse married Mary Merriman. Jesse falsely claimed on his marriage certificate to Mary that he had only been married once before, and the prophet signed it. The prophet had performed Jesse's third wedding, knowing that he had been divorced twice before. The Clark County Memorial Hospital sued Jesse for services provided for professional care for Mary. I wondered, was Jesse physically abusive? I was not able to find the divorce lawsuit transcripts. I was, however, able to find a record of Jesse Branham being arrested in 1945. As brawls broke out in resorts on Highway 62, 9 were arrested in the Woodview Inn. Henry Branham, the boxer and soon-to-be mistaken for faith healer, was also among those involved. Even more surprising, as I searched through the newspaper archives for the prophet's siblings and local acquaintances, I found that the prophet's brother Howard was still involved with the liquor industry, long after the healing campaigns began. During the early part of William Branham's ministry, Howard traveled with the prophet, both in the United States and abroad, as a faith-healing evangelist, and he is featured in many of the early photographs used for marketing and for Branham's newsletter, The Voice of Healing. Howard posed for many of the photographs with familiar faces, such as Gordon Lindsay, Ern Baxter, Jack Moore, and others. During this time, as early as March of 1948, Howard Branham remained actively brewing, promoting, and selling liquor. In 1948, he found himself at the center of legal issues as Robert Hutzel and Earl Neal filed an injunction against Paul Jacobs and Howard Branham's Beech Grove nightclub and dance hall. This continued as late as 1952. In March of 1952, Howard proudly advertised his tasty Irish Shillelagh, an Irish mixed drink, at his nightclub, the Galway Bay. Howard had partnered with Harold Stockoff and Kenneth Miller and invited everyone to greetings on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, with Bock beer.